Hello, and welcome to the first week of the Be Well Mindfully Mindfulness Training Program. Today, we will introduce the concept of mindfulness, as well as discuss developing simple awareness and disengaging from autopilot within our daily lives. During today's lesson, feel free to go through the material at your own pace. We recommend watching the entirety of the video in one sitting so as to minimize the chances of losing your place or missing information presented in the lesson. However, if you need to take breaks, you are encouraged to do so. Feel free to rewatch this video as many times as you'd like. Mindfulness has received increasing attention over the past few years in both media and clinical practice. But what exactly is mindfulness? The following is a quote by Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn that defines mindfulness. He states, "Mindfulness is moment-to-moment non-judgmental awareness. It is cultivated by purposefully paying attention to things we ordinarily never give a moment's thought to. It is a systematic approach to developing new kinds of agency, control, and wisdom in our lives, based on our inner capacity for paying attention and on the awareness, insight, and compassion that naturally arises from paying attention in specific ways." An important key aspect of mindfulness is that it takes place in the present moment. However, we as humans are rarely in the present moment. When we're lost in memories of the past or anticipation of the future, we often become caught up in a way that hijacks our attention, making it more difficult to stay in the everyday moments of our lives. In mindfulness training, we strengthen our capacity for non-judgmental awareness. One of the first things we notice as we practice mindfulness is how caught up we are in judgments, ideas, and opinions about things and our lives in general. As we continue to practice mindfulness, we see that it is possible to set judging aside, at least some of the time, and experience elements of our lives in a less filtered way, freer of tunnel vision. This may in turn create a richer and clearer understanding that we have a choice about things. Opting to exercise that choice becomes a conscious step toward mindful action, rather than a detour into wishful thinking, resignation, or impulsive behavior. Another key aspect of mindfulness is that it can be trained and strengthened. The practice of mindfulness can be compared to muscle strengthening exercises. In much the same way that your muscles can weaken or atrophy when not exercised, our capacity for mindfulness can weaken when we don't make use of it. The core of mindfulness-based stress reduction is the systematic training of the muscle of mindfulness. Throughout this program, this is done through the training videos that you're watching now, the mindfulness exercises, and the daily mindfulness practice activities. Together, these lessons and exercises will help you to cultivate mindfulness and develop the general tendency to be aware within your day-to-day life. We have briefly discussed what mindfulness meditation is, but it is also important that we talk about what mindfulness meditation is not. Mindfulness meditation is not a journey of the imagination that encourages us to abandon ourselves to fantasies. While activities such as visualization exercises, for example, are often utilized as tools within mindfulness practice to help gain further insight into our experiences and sensations, it is important to distinguish mindfulness from distraction. Mindfulness meditation is not about escaping the world and our everyday reality. In mindfulness-based stress reduction, we practice exactly the opposite, being aware of the present moment just as it is, even if it is painful. This is especially important when we think about using mindfulness practice to help us manage symptoms and experiences related to trauma or pain. Often, when we experience something unpleasant, we as humans seek to eliminate these experiences and stop them altogether. For example, in trauma-focused treatments, it's not uncommon for individuals to say that they want to completely eliminate their PTSD symptoms, or even go back to the way that things were before the trauma. Individuals also tend to state similar goals in pain management, expressing desire to completely eliminate the experience of pain. It does not help that the language used to discuss pain reflects similar sentiments. Take painkillers, for example. When we practice mindfulness, imagine that we are tending to the garden of our life, watering and caring for it. Everything nourishes this garden, the wonderful moments of our lives as well as the difficult ones. The difficult ones in particular, what one meditation teacher called the compost of our lives, can provide a rich source of nourishment as we learn to meet them with mindfulness. Another important note is that mindfulness is not a relaxation exercise. Although we may experience a sense of relaxation during or after practice, relaxation is not the goal, but rather we strive to build simple awareness. Lastly, mindfulness meditation is not about making our minds blank, although it is a popular misconception that blankness is the goal. Rather, with practice, we hope you can come to a point of noticing your thoughts and sensations as if they were passing clouds, simply noticing their occurrence and letting them drift away without reaction or judgment. As we go through this mindfulness training, it is important to keep in mind the essential attitudes for mindfulness practice. Jon Kabat-Zinn outlines 7 specific attitudes that form a foundation for mindfulness. They apply directly, moment by moment and day by day, as you cultivate and deepen mindfulness. These attitudes are non-judging, patience, beginner's mind, trust, non-striving, acceptance, and letting go. The attitudes support each other and are deeply interconnected. Practicing one will lead to the others. Your ability to bring these attitudes forward in your mindfulness practice will have a great deal to do with your long-term success and ability to manage any post-traumatic stress symptoms or pain that you may experience. In the actual meditation practices you will learn, you will revisit them many times and will come to understand what vital supports they truly are. The first essential attitude is non-judging. Mindfulness is compassionate, open-hearted, choiceless awareness. It is cultivated by taking the position of an unbiased, attentive witness to your own experience as it happens in the present moment. To do this requires that you begin to relate to the contents of your experience without judgment as the present moment unfolds. The habit of categorizing and judging experience locks you into patterns of reacting and repeating thoughts, feelings, and behavior. You may not even be aware of these patterns. Judging acts to separate you from the direct experience of each moment and from the unfolding reality of life. When you practice mindfulness, it is important to recognize the judging quality of mind and identify the judgmental thinking as it arises. It is equally important not to judge the judging. Simply note the judging as present. This may be difficult at first, but that's all right. With continued practice, you will notice that it will become easier. The second essential attitude of mindfulness practice is patience.
Patience is the ability to bear difficulty with calmness and self-control. It requires connection with your calm inner core as well as some faith and courage. Patience also requires a degree of kindness and compassion for yourself as you bear the upset of the situation. Patience is a form of wisdom. It demonstrates that we understand and accept the fact that sometimes things must unfold at their own pace. Often, impatience arises when the ego, the self-centered part in each of us, screams for things to be different than they actually are. Imagine a child that stumbles upon a chrysalis. The child may try to help a butterfly emerge by breaking open its chrysalis. But if the butterfly is not ready to emerge, it will not benefit from this. Patience is the understanding that the butterfly can only emerge in its own time, and that the process cannot be hurried. As you learn to rest more and more with this truth, your patience will grow even stronger. To become more patient, you must learn to recognize impatience. Notice any tendency to rush through one moment to get to the next. It is not uncommon for mindfulness practice to be associated with feelings of impatience, particularly in the beginning phases of practice. Mindfulness does not unfold its benefits in one night or even after an hour of practicing mindfulness exercises. The benefits of mindfulness, especially for symptoms of stress and pain, are slowly unfolding with our practice. Next, we have beginner's mind. When you begin to observe what is here in the present moment, the thinking mind tends to believe that it knows all about what's happening. It will also try to control what is happening by desperately seeking out more information. The activity of thinking itself forms a kind of filter between you and the direct experience and true richness of life as it unfolds moment by moment. To practice beginner's mind means to open to the experience in each moment as if meeting it for the first time. Imagine the wonder of a child as they encounter something for the first time. The first smell of a flower, the first drop of rain, the first taste of an orange. All are experienced without the intermediate layer of thought or comparison to the past. These moments are experienced just as they are, in the now, directly, as smelling, touch, taste, as sound, or sight. In truth, each moment is unique. Though you may have experienced 1,000 sunsets, you have not experienced this particular sunset. The same is true of a lifetime of in-breaths, or the 100th time you've tasted your favorite dessert. This particular breath and this particular taste have never happened before and will never happen again. When practicing mindfulness, you are asked to cultivate the same quality of direct experience, receiving whatever arises as a unique and precious experience. To do this is to practice beginner's mind. Another basic step for mindfulness practice is learning to trust yourself and your feelings. You learn to trust that you can see clearly what is happening to you. As you practice mindfulness, you will deepen your awareness of life and your own moment-to-moment experience. You will develop increasing sensitivity and accuracy in discerning what is here now and what is happening in your own body and mind, as well as what is happening around you. It's very important to acknowledge how trauma or pain can impact trust. It is not uncommon to doubt yourself, your capabilities, or your decision-making following a traumatic event. You may develop thoughts such as, I am weak, I cannot be trusted to keep myself safe or make good decisions, I should have known better, or maybe this happened because of something I did. Similarly, when a person experiences chronic pain, they may develop beliefs such as, I cannot trust what my body is telling me, my body betrays me, or the sensations I experience are dangerous and something I cannot handle. Through your journey with mindfulness, you will learn that you and you alone are the best person to know what is going on inside your own skin and what is happening outside of it. You do not need an expert to tell you these things. You can learn to pay attention and to be present using powerful capabilities of attention and awareness that you already have. It is important to learn to trust in your own authority to know yourself, rather than looking outside of yourself for authority. In this process, you discover what it really means to be your own person and to live life with authenticity. Non-striving is another essential attitude in mindfulness practice. We spend so much of our lives doing things and trying to change things. This habit of doing often carries over into meditation, where it can be problematic. In many ways, our mind wants to get more of what it likes and wants to get rid of what it doesn't like. We may feel that we are not the way we should be. We may feel pressure to change. This pressure to do and to change is felt as striving or straining to be different, to go elsewhere, or to do something else. While change is often required for growth and healing, allow mindfulness to be your place of rest. As with most things in life, it's important to find balance, and mindfulness practice is our chance to just be, without experiencing the strain of striving to change. The practice of mindfulness involves simply paying attention without judgment to whatever is happening. To practice meditation is to practice being, not doing. When you feel a sense of striving or of trying to change things, notice that without judging yourself. In a deep sense, the practice of mindfulness is about truly relaxing and allowing whatever is happening to happen, and bringing clear, compassionate awareness to it as it happens. Meditation involves a paradox. The best way to achieve your goals around meditation is to back off from striving for results and instead start to focus carefully on seeing and accepting things as they are, moment to moment. To expand on this idea, next we have acceptance. The process of acceptance begins with the willingness to see things exactly as they are in the present moment. Can you keep your attention focused exactly here and now, taking each moment as it comes and connecting with whatever presents itself? Often, to be able to accept what comes into awareness, you must pass through periods of intense feelings, such as anger, fear, or grief. These feelings themselves require acceptance. Acceptance means seeing things exactly as they are, rather than as you think they are or as you think they should be. Remember, things can only change in the present moment. You have to see things as they are and yourself as you are, truly, in this moment, if you wish to change, heal, or transform yourself or your life. Acceptance includes softening and opening to what is here. Acceptance does not mean you have to like everything or that you have to have a passive attitude. Similarly, when we apply the concept of acceptance to trauma, it does not mean that what happened was okay or right, or even what was supposed to happen as part of a bigger plan. It does not mean you have to be satisfied with the things that's the way they are, or that you have to stop trying to change things for the better. As we speak of it here, acceptance simply means willingness to see things as they are, deeply, truthfully, and completely. This attitude sets the stage for acting in the most potent and healthy way in your life, no matter what is happening. The final essential attitude for mindfulness practice that we will discuss is letting go or non-attachment. Much of the time, people are practicing the opposite of this attitude, clinging to things without even knowing it. Often, what you cling to the most strongly are ideas and views about yourself, others, and situations. It is a kind of clinging on the inside. It may be difficult to see, but is easily felt. These ideas in which you cling filter and shape your moment-by-moment experience in profound ways. When you start paying attention to your inner experience through meditation, you will rapidly discover which thoughts, feelings, and situation your mind seems to want to hold on to. You will also notice things that it wants desperately to get rid of. Clinging is driven by liking and disliking and by judgments we make about things. As you practice mindfulness, it is important to set aside the tendency to judge each experience. Instead, you teach yourself to recognize judging. Don't get caught up in good or bad, high or low, pleasant or unpleasant. Just let your experience be what it is, moment by moment. This letting be is actually a way of letting go. By not interfering, by just letting things be, you give yourself a better chance to let go. Can you feel the sense of contracting and hardening that arises around both pleasant and unpleasant situations? Letting go just means releasing the tight grip we hold around things and allowing it to be. It is not necessary to push the thing away. In fact, no force is required. Just soften the hold. Just let go. You do it all the time, actually. Let's try an example. Make a fist, squeeze it tight, and now let it go. Notice that feeling. Try it again. Making a fist, squeezing it tight, and letting it go. This is the physical sensation of letting go. Practicing meditation, you are practicing letting go on the inside. Become familiar with the internal sense of contraction in the body and mind. Then practice letting go of that. At first, this may be easier said than done. If you're unsure how to go about letting go, don't worry. The trainings and activities in this mindfulness intervention have been specifically chosen to help give you a sense of control and ability to notice and let go and practice non-attachment to the present moment.
When you first begin mindfulness practice, you may struggle with frustration, fatigue, or even discomfort. Mindfulness can be challenging, especially when we as humans are so good at not being mindful. But the good news is that our brains are remarkably capable of learning. For example, imagine a young child learning to walk for the first time. There's quite a bit of concentration involved as they focus on lifting their leg, stepping forward, keeping their balance, and so on. We were all in this position once. However, now as an adult, it is likely that walking does not require this level of thought. This is because as we learn and acquire new skills, our brain is able to process the information and steps involved with little effort through a process called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the idea that one of the things the brain does best is learn, and that connections in the brain are constantly being reshaped and strengthened. The stronger the connections between our neurons and brain areas become, the more efficiently they work together. This means that the more we perform certain behaviors, or think certain thoughts, or even experience certain emotions, the better our brains become at doing these things and can do them with little effort. In many ways, this autopilot mode is adaptive. It helps us preserve our relatively limited cognitive resources to allow us to turn our focus and brain power to more demanding tasks. For example, because our brain can execute the task of walking rather automatically, it frees up mental space to focus on other things, such as taking in the scenery as we walk, focusing on a conversation with a friend, or following directions to a certain destination. However, there are times where autopilot is less adaptive and sometimes even harmful, such as when we over-rely on autopilot to process our emotional experiences. Over-relying on autopilot may cause us to fall into certain traps. Relying on autopilot means that we are not experiencing the full breadth of the experience that we are actually having at that moment. Imagine a drive that you've done many times, maybe the drive to and from work. When done on autopilot, we likely miss things we do not even realize were there to be enjoyed, such as the beautiful sky, the trees or flowers, the unique homes we pass, or even peaceful moments to ourselves before stepping into work or returning home. If we are always running on autopilot, we may lose awareness for what is even happening. We therefore don't realize the choices we have to do things differently, to either switch into another program or to just be in the moment and aware of what's going on around us. Autopilot responses can be formed during times of increased anxiety, stress, or pain. If these responses become habits and become our automatic reactions, then we can begin to live in a way that is not what we want and does not promote our happiness. One of the most detrimental autopilots that can be formed during stressful times is the stress response itself. The fight, flight, or freeze response you may have experienced during a trauma in which your body was trying to keep you safe may allow you to respond more readily to future events, but may not be appropriate in your everyday life. Common examples of this may be snapping or becoming irritable at those around us for being noisy, shutting down over seemingly minor stressors, or nearly jumping out of our skin due to an unexpected sound. Mindfulness allows us to take a step back in order to bring awareness to our responses that are happening and when they are happening. It also allows us to bring awareness to when we are going through our day on autopilot. In doing so, we bring awareness to our own agency in the present moment to respond in a way that best fits our goals, desires, and personal values. It allows us a pause to make the choices in what we experience and how we respond, rather than falling into a continual automatic loop. Because your journey with mindfulness is about your life, no one can do it for you or tell you exactly how to do it. Fortunately, it isn't something that you have to get or acquire. You already have it within you. It's simply a matter of being present. In fact, in the very moment you recognize that you aren't present, you have become present. The moment you see that you've been trapped by your thoughts, you gain the freedom to step out of that trap. Mindfulness is a way of life that can be practiced in two ways, formally and informally. Formal practice means taking time out of each day to intentionally sit, stand, or lie down and focus mindfully on your breath, your bodily sensations, your senses or thoughts, and your emotions. Informal practice involves bringing mindful awareness to daily activities such as brushing your teeth, exercising, chores, when you relate and interact with others, or basically any action, whether you're at work, at home, or anywhere else that you might find yourself. We can take advantage of informal practice by allowing ourselves small moments throughout the day to remember to be mindful. One way to slip into mindfulness practice within our daily life is mindful eating. This next exercise, what we like to call the raisin meditation, will help you see the ways in which we can bring mindful awareness to even mundane and daily activities. In this exercise, we're going to use a raisin as a focus to experience mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just about meditation, it's about being present in every moment of every day. For this exercise, you'll use a raisin. If you don't have raisins, any small amount of food will do. Perhaps try a berry or a small piece of chocolate. So let's begin. First, place the food in the palm of your hand. Imagine that you have just come to Earth from a distant planet without such food. Now, with this food in your hand, you can begin to explore it with all of your senses. Focus on one of the objects as if you've never seen anything like it before. Focus on seeing this food. Scan it, exploring every part of it, as if you've never seen such a thing before. Turn it around with your fingers and notice what color it is. Notice any folds or corners, spaces where the surface reflects light or becomes darker. Is there anything else about this object or food that you notice? Next, explore the texture, feeling any softness, hardness, coarseness, or smoothness. While you're doing this, if thoughts arise, such as, why am I doing this weird exercise? How will this ever help me? Or I hate these foods. Then just see if you can acknowledge these thoughts. Let them be. And then bring your awareness back to the object. Take the object beneath your nose and carefully notice how it smells. Bring the object to one ear, squeeze it, roll it around, and hear if there are any sounds coming from it. Begin to slowly take the object into your mouth, noticing how your arm knows exactly where to go, and perhaps becoming aware of your mouth watering. Gently place the object in your mouth, on your tongue, without yet biting into it. Simply explore the sensations of this object in your mouth. When you're ready, intentionally bite down on the object, maybe noticing how automatically it goes to one side of the mouth versus the other. Also notice the taste it releases. Slowly chew on this object. Become aware of the saliva in your mouth and how the object changes in consistency as you chew. Again, notice anything that you taste. Has it changed since you originally put the object in your mouth? When you feel ready to swallow, consciously notice the intention to swallow. And then see if you can notice the sensation of swallowing the food, sensing it moving down your throat on its way into your stomach. Now, take a moment to congratulate yourself for taking this time to experience mindful eating. This is the end of the Week 1 Mindfulness Training lesson. Please remember to continue with the daily mindfulness practice exercises that are displayed on the website below this video. As a reminder, each week you will be asked to view the weekly mindfulness training video once, as well as practice the 2 daily mindfulness practice exercises once per day. You are free to choose which day you would like to view the training video. An example of what your week may look like would be viewing the longer training video on Monday, followed by the 2 mindfulness practice videos, Monday through Sunday. Again, you are only required to view the mindfulness training video once per week, and we ask that you complete both mindfulness training exercises listed each day of the week. If you have any questions or concerns at any time during this program, please feel free to contact us via the email provided at the beginning of this study.